Hey guys, Glaziola Nacht here. Um, sorry about that. I am very excited because I want to share with you guys an urban legend that has been around Washington, D.C. for decades. Now, why would I bring up an urban legend when my channel mostly contains tributes, AMVs, and all that? Well, one, it's a very interesting urban legend, and two, this is like, I will say this, Washington, D.C. is 2.5 hours away from me. Just to give you an idea, 2.5 hours from where I live is Washington, D.C. So, the urban legend I am going to be talking about is the Washington, D.C. Demon Cat, or D.C. for short. Yeah, I know, very clever. Nice job. Now, let's get into the history of D.C., shall we? So, the story of D.C. dates back to the mid-1800s, when during the construction of the White House, cats were brought into the basement tunnels to kill rats and mice that were infesting the building, as it was obviously under construction. These cats were very, very efficient. I mean, cats are efficient in general when it comes to killing pests like mice and rats. Now, when the White House was done being built, everything was completed, there were still cats roaming around. Some of the builders adopted the cats. Other cats were left to wander the new grounds of the White House. But there was one cat who died and never left the White House basement tunnels. That would be DC. He is seen as a little black kitten with piercing blood-red eyes. He is mainly seen in the basement crypt of the Capitol building, which, believe it or not, was originally intended to be the burial chamber for George Washington. With DC, back in the day, he was seen either before presidential elections and or tragedies surrounding Washington, D.C. Surprisingly, he has been spotted by White House security guards 2 very important times. Well, not important, but more like tragic. That would be, he was spotted before the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln. So the day before, he was spotted, and then assassinations. As I've stated, DC is described as a little black kitten with piercing red eyes. But DC has a little MO of his. He has the ability to swell to the size of a giant tiger, 10 feet by 10 feet, retaining his black coat and piercing blood-red eyes. Especially when alerted, when there are humans wandering around where George Washington was going to be buried. DC would then either explode or pounce at whoever saw him, and then disappear before managing to catch his victims. This would be when he's in his tiger state. And, you know, once all the people left, he would return to being a little kitten. So, in the 1890s, there were some Capitol Hill guards who were in the basement, the Capitol building basement. DC was there. He was alerted, and, of course, approached them, growing to the size of his giant tiger. The guards fired their guns at him, but as you may know, because DC is a ghost demon cat, all they ended up doing was shooting the walls. There was this other guard who, when DC was alerted to his presence, DC got to the point of pouncing and then disappearing, or seemingly ready to pounce, then he disappeared. That guard, the next day, died of a heart attack. And I'm sure you can imagine why. I mean, how would you feel if you saw a giant black tiger with piercing blood-red eyes about ready to pounce at you? So, the last official sighting of DC was during the final days or the aftermath of World War II in the 1940s. And many have said he has never been seen again. But there was a live news report during the 2016 elections. At night, there was a news reporter standing in front of the White House, and in the upper left window, you can only imagine who was seen, who was spotted by people watching. Yeah, DC. He was there. And we all know who won the 2016 presidential elections. One thing that I want to point out is that DC has similar traits to the Mothman of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Both are seen before tragedy. In DC's case, only seen for tragedy befalling the White House, tragedy befalling a president, or tragedy befalling presidential elections. So that is the urban legend I wanted to talk about. Hopefully you got a bit of a chill from this. I really love this urban legend, and the fact that he was seen at night in the upper left window of the White House during a live news report during the presidential elections. Well, that just goes to show he's still there. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I gave you a little bit of a chill up your spine. Alright guys, auf Wiedersehen.